and changes in scope. Site budget was performed using the scope of work quantities produced from Pannoni's software program with unit costs applied by IMC, and we also made allowances for rock excavation and potential environmental construction, which we expect might be present on the site. Next question, are there cost benefits for not developing in the sloped area and instead develop in the flat existing parking area? While there might be cost benefits to the buildings, the savings would be lost due to the existing site work or the additional site work necessary to provide parking in the sloped areas. Additionally, this parking would be located in areas which are not convenient to the stadium, the ball fields, and other uses on the site. Last question, project cost contingency should be at least 20 to 25% at this early stage. Our experience is that it's typical at this point to have a contingency at 10%. We also feel that we've used conservative cost estimates and that and also included additional allowances for escalation, unforeseen conditions such as rock and environmental issues. So we feel good about the 10%.
And before I let you go, Mike, there was, we did, maybe not. Okay, we're missing a slide. It should be on your email.
Yep, it
We
is.
did update the cost matrix. We've not included parking because it's on each of the schematics. It's part of the original presentation. So rather than include that redundant information, what we did was do something that we thought would be easier at a glance for most people, and that would be describing the proposal, what exactly the proposal was, breaking it down by the user, police station, administrative building, and library, adding the costs for each of the options, and then the tax implications on the average property assessment.
Okay, and it'll be all part of that.
It will unless,
You'll add this,
Gets eaten.
you'll add the slide.
It's on the
We
one
will.
on your computer.
Yeah,
It
yeah, I
is.
know, but I want it, I know it's
But it'll
on
be
my
on the
computer.
website.
I want it to be on the website so people can see.
Absolutely.
it.
It is,
absolutely, I apologize for that.
Okay.
Do the board members have any questions at this time?
I do. I have a lot of questions.
Yes, I'd like to.
Yeah.
We have consultants
We can-
here, so if you'd like
Yeah, why
to.
don't we just open up the discussion and then we can,
Just,
bring.
may I just make a comment, Lori? I couldn't open whatever you sent. Did you have the same?
Yeah, I can't open
Could
it
you
either.
resend it? I don't know what the problem is, that we can't open it.
Yeah, I'll be happy to. I'll actually
Because
have
you
Kelly
have-
resend it because she's better than I am at that.
Because what I could tell, you have some,
This is the different one.
is that a different one?
Yeah.
Okay, because I want to look at the costs and the impact and,
But
I
that
was
one
able to
can't
open
open
mine.
either, Steve.
So, mine was.
Let's try, Mr. D'Amelio, Masola, you're on your emails now?
Yeah,
I'll try to send them over to you right
Okay.
now.
hey, thanks, Larry, I
Thanks.
appreciate that.
yeah, thanks.
Okay.
Larry,
Jane, would you like to begin?
Sure.
Larry, forward it to me too.
You good? We okay? Oh, send it to you too. Okay. The first thing, some of them are pretty elementary, but maybe Mr. Gallman could answer some of these for me. Can you tell me what cut and fill is, please?
Yeah, that's when you're addressing a site and it's got slope to it. You move dirt from one site to the other to level it and try to economize the amount of dirt you're bringing onto the site or taking off. So it's a
Okay.
way of leveling out the cutting or filling the site, depending upon where things have to be, to create a level site that we can build on and reduce the cost of bringing soil in or out.
Okay. Was it, has to do with the corner?
I think they did that at the quarry.
Oh, at the
You
quarry.
remember
Oh,
the
right.
massive
They did do it at the
mounds
quarry.
that they
Okay,
created?
good. Yeah, that's a good example then. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, we attempt to do that at most sites for cost efficiencies.
Okay. You may be able to answer a lot of these, so would you mind? Thanks. And I don't know the history on the wireless tower here, so I'm just asking. Could that be moved to that site?
I guess things can be moved, I don't know.
Well, maybe I should jump in, because I do the lease administration on that. This property is encumbered by that lease. The site is selected by telecommunication users as well. You may remember Haverford Township was the original occupier of the old tower. And then when it was replaced, we started incorporating telecom providers as well. They selected this site because of the elevation. The tower is 180 feet, I think. I think it might have an extension on it. And with that elevation, we would have to go probably about another 80 feet higher if we moved it down to Manoa Road, just because of the loss of elevation, tree covers, things of that nature.
Are we prohibited from moving that? Because if we did something with this site and that municipal building,
Well,
to me, it would make sense to move that down there.
Let me say that we probably could with our own facilities, but if I use like a real estate analogy, would you mind? If you're the landlord and you entered into a lease with me at this site, would you as the landlord be able to just swap out the lease and move me to another site? Like it would
No,
take
but I
a
mean, is
real-
there something in the lease that prohibits us from doing that, do you know?
No termination provision on the part of the landlord for
Okay.
something like that. So,
Okay.
I mean, we would just have to write out the lease.
Okay, and the lease is,
The last amendment was a 40-year lease.
ugh,
Oy.
Okay.
It's got another 20-some years.
okay, I'm just asking.
Yeah, but let's think about what these things looked like 40 years ago. If anybody thinks that 40 years from now, that's how we're going to be transmitting, the transmissions in wireless communications.
It won't be.
Haven't been paying attention. So,
Right.
40 years doesn't mean anything. You might as well say a million.
Mm-hmm.
Because, we already have boosters and much smaller things all throughout the township. It's much easier for us to blanket that kind of stuff. That should not be anybody's long-term concern.
Okay, thank you. If we were,
I would like to know why coverage is so bad here with that tower next to us.
yeah,
It doesn't have Verizon cell, they're getting one.
Are they?
if we were to renovate the library where it is currently, what would you suggest in terms of moving the library somewhere for a temporary site?
I guess we would look for another township facility or school or some other building like that you could move in temporarily without having to build anything, so that you could make the renovations to the library at the least cost. So, school, something like that.
So I don't know, if anybody's thought about the Stratford, the Friends School, but could that be an appropriate site for a short-term?
It's how much grief you can put up in the short term. If it made a big difference cost-wise, you could live with that.
The ball fields. Even if we just did the police station, just say you just build a new police station, does it make sense in any scheme to take any part, and I know this is not what people want, but I'm asking, to take any part of any of the ball fields?
Either ball fields or just flat land and didn't have a ball field on it, that would probably be a better spot to build than in a sloped area.
And Columbia Road, since we own Columbia Road, that could work to our advantage in terms of traffic flow in and out. I'm trying to grasp what you were trying to explain there.
It's less expensive to build on flatter land and use adjacent parking. That's why you build.
I know why you can't open. No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm confused about the Columbia Road thing.
So we want to have egress from the site. We want to be able to exit the site.
Right.
And there's limited places we could exit the site. We could continue to exit it on the Darby Road. Well, if you're going to put a significant amount of new trips into the site, you're really stressing the whole intersection and the
Yeah.
whole area by trying to go north on Darby, which is where most people are going to go. So, so then therefore, we need access onto Manoa. As we go down Manoa Road, at Wawa, Manoa Road and the site are almost level. the further you go down, the more they come apart from each other.
Right.
So the harder it is to get into that site, chase grade, fight grade. So if you come down to Columbia Road, we're providing access from the site to Columbia and then to Columbia out to Manoa Road, rather than going directly into Manoa Road at another location. And it's because of grade. If the whole site was flat, we wouldn't be doing that.
Okay, and while I have you, Mr. Pannoni.
Did that answer your question, though?
Yes, that's the answer to my question, but what is the, if you know, what is the level, what is the rate level at the intersection of Lawrence and Eagle Road right now for that YMCA? Is that a B or is that a C?
Certainly no, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
It's funny because I checked the counts at this intersection with that traffic study.
Is this
But
an F right here?
I don't know.
I mean,
can
at
answer
Eagle
those
and Darby.
questions, I just can't answer them right now.
Okay.
I know they're not Cs. I know they're not Cs or better. I know that.
They're not Cs or better, okay.
Pretty confident of that.
So if you're telling me a D level, what does that equate to? Does that mean that I am delayed, an excruciating amount of time at a light? I guess it would, right?
Oh, here it is. Hold on, I got a little bit of empirical data with that. And let's go to that turning movement.
Okay.
That's one we studied in detail. So if you remember that turning movement, which is going up Manoa Road and taking the left, as is with the C, it's a 30-second delay.
Right.
It's a 30-second wait time. With that in the township building going to a level service of a D, it's a 40-second wait time. The E goes to a 75-second wait time.
So that's enough that it becomes, would you say, an issue?
Well, what the feds, I'm saying PennDOT, what the feds creates is five levels, A, B, C, D, E, and F.
Okay.
And there's nothing less than that. So F goes to, I believe, 88 seconds. I believe it's 88 seconds is where it goes to an F.
Okay.
So, I mean, you're at the fifth, you're at the fourth of five. So you're certainly below average.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Gowman, the police and municipal building, the land needed for that, without taking any of the ball fields, does it make it that you really would have to be higher than the stadium? I couldn't figure that out by looking at those schematics. Would the building, if you put the municipal and the police building there, would your building height be higher than the stadium, or would it be at level?
A little bit higher.
A little bit higher. A floor higher or just a little bit higher?
I'm thinking like half a story.
Half a story, which would be how many feet?
Again, depending upon where you put it. If you put 6 to 12 feet, somewhere in that area, different.
Okay.
Depending upon where you put the building. If it's down in that lower bottom quarter where the recycling is now, it's the lowest part of the site.
Right.
It would probably be close to that.
Okay. And my last question, that maybe you can help the board with this, and this is just a thought that I had after going through all of these schemes, is that maybe the board can take this time before August and narrow it down to maybe 3 acceptable schemes, or even 2 that the board can vote on, as opposed to 7.
Could we say
And that's-
schematics and not
Schematics,
schemes?
sorry, schematics. And that is it for me. So I would just like the board to maybe consider that. If you could make a suggestion to that or speak to that.
Well, right now we have 6 or 7 schemes, and it's more difficult to put your finger on a couple of them to really see where. The question is where you put the library, and that'll drop out a bunch of schemes once you decide that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I am
Well,
done.
let me just ask Dave, the YMCA, there's definitely a traffic problem there, am I right?
Oh, there's always been a lot of
Okay.
time on Eagle Road.
But there is a problem there.
Yep. And there's-
Okay.
there's still a lot
Will
of-
there be a problem over here at Walgreens if that goes through, yes or no on that?
Well, Walgreens' volume of traffic isn't that much greater than the service station. So it will not have a substantive increase in traffic.
But it's still a bad situation there to begin with.
Well, look,
That's bad anyway, yeah.
take the YMCA away and take that service station away from this intersection. This intersection here and the intersection at Lawrence and Eagle have substantive amounts of traffic for the configuration of the intersection. I wish I could give you the level services there now, I just don't have them at the,
Okay, but my main question would be coming down to the stadium, the police station, the library, the township building, and whatever else is going to be included there. Do you think there'd be a main traffic problem there then?
well, you're not, I mean, we should go with our eyes wide open. You're not gonna mitigate. You're not, in other words, you're not gonna do something down there to address the impact of putting the additional trips there. You're gonna have the impact on especially Manoa Road that I mentioned, Jim.
Right.
You're gonna go from B to C to D. I mean, C to D to E. That's gonna happen. I'm not, whether you call it a problem or not, that could get a little bit subjective. For some people, 70-second wait might be okay. For some people, it's excruciating. But I can tell you the fact that that's what it's gonna become.
Okay, well, I got a lot more, but Jane's got a few, I guess. I can tell you, Jane, on mine, it would be option 3 and option, the Bogosian plan.
Okay.
Option, I guess that's 7. Just so you know, that's my feeling. I don't have to
Thanks.
go any
Thanks.
further than that.
Just one question while you're up there, Dave. I don't see anything like, you talk about traffic coming on Manoa Road and then traffic coming up Darby.
Right.
You don't show it going down Darby, which is where, what's that?
What do you mean by
Ways
down
out,
door?
which way?
I'm
down.
sorry. If you're coming towards the township building or westbound,
Coming
Okay.
from Lanark, you mean?
Northbound,
Yeah.
coming from Upper Darby to the township building, right?
coming from Upper Darby to the township building.
Northbound on Darby. Yep.
You talk about that on the, in the other direction, where the Wawa is, that's not even a turning lane, and that gets backed up, when school lets out, and, on a regular day, that's backed up
Yep.
past there. What are we gonna do to mitigate that? Because that's gonna be the entrance to the facility.
But don't forget that entrance is before the intersection. It's where it exists now.
I understand, but there is going to be a lot more cars in that queue, which is actually not even a lane.
The only thing you can do there, Mario, and again, this is, you're limited to only thing you can do there is, again, extend that left turn lanes and modify your timings. That's why your level
Talking about
service.
the right-hand turn lane onto Manoa from Darby. If you're coming from here towards,
Talking about this
Towards the
movement
site.
here.
Yes.
right, exactly.
Current movement,
If you're- if
which
you're
right now
in
is not
there-
a right turn lane.
There
But
is no
everyone
right turn
uses it
lane.
as one. It's as wide as a car, everybody uses the right-hand side of the road
Everybody
as a
uses
turn
it,
lane.
but there is no, if you get into an accident in that lane, you're at fault.
Right, it's not a right
There's
turn
not a
lane.
designated right-hand lane.
Right.
So what I'm saying is that queues up when school lets out or when something's going on over there, that queues up past the stadium,
Yep.
okay?
Yep.
So if we're adding traffic to that coming from people who are coming from this area down to the library, which is the majority of people going to the library, or to the township building and police station, that's gonna back that up. Have we looked into that? How further that's gonna be backed up, and how much time people are gonna spend in that turning lane?
Actually, that's a
Which is
good
actually
question.
not a turning lane.
We did look at the impact of, and again, that's why the level of service goes down for the entire intersection as you develop it further. Where it goes from what it is today to what it would be with the township building and with the township building and a library. I didn't look, or I don't have with me, how far back that queue goes. Because unlike the Manoa, we're not lengthening any lane there. So there's no cost associated with it. It's just it's a level, it's an overall impact on the function of the intersection.
But if we're saying, okay, well, 79 seconds is too much, 39 is suitable, wouldn't it be good to know that?
And I can get you
So
that.
that
That's a
we
good
can-
question. I can get you,
so we can
I
make
can
a
get you the
decision?
impact on the delay, on the wait time going southbound on Darby Road to make a right. I could give you that. And again, what it'll also do from the site standpoint is it'll back up into the site. That's where anybody trying to exit the site that wants to come out that way, they queue back into the site. They don't go into the highway.
Right.
Right, which is why we don't want that median opened up to the general public. You know how that median's open now for emergency vehicles?
Yes.
We don't want that for the general public, because I pull in there, you pull in behind me, and you're sticking out in the lane.
Well, it does, I have seen when people are exiting there, people use that
Yep.
to get out.
I don't do that.
They're using that, I know you don't, but I've seen, when there's, parade or something like that, I'm there, I see that people go out and use that. So I'm not sure if it's just because the amount of traffic there is trying to get out, people are using that to go the other direction, so they don't have to loop around.
And they're going it, and that's part of what the challenge is on this site, because we have to have access to Minoa. But if this, the less desirable this access is and that left turn is, 90 seconds, 70-some seconds, the more people are gonna wanna use this entrance.
Right. But what I'm saying,
It's already stressed.
what I'm saying is people coming out of there also, you got that queuing up back, so that's gonna queue back onto the site, but the people trying to make a left turn or turning around,
Yep, making the U-turn.
making the U-turn
Yep.
there because that's how they have to go. If you're coming towards the township building, you'd have to loop around there. How far back are they saying we should make that lane? Or we didn't look into that yet?
Well, it's not a matter of length in that lane because you're going to really take those left turns and put them here. Your question about how much further delay will you get on that, it's a good question. I actually have that number, Mary, I just don't have it with me.
Okay.
But that's a good question. I can get back to the board on that
When you're
number.
leaving the site, you're leaving on Darby Road? Or are you leaving on Minoa?
When you're exiting the site, and if you want to go east on Minoa, south on Darby,
I think he said it was just general.
well, any of the exits, we want you to exit the site on Minoa Road.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a simple answer to your question. We
Are we-
want you to
are
exit
we-
the site on Minoa
Are
Road.
we prohibiting people from coming out onto Darby?
Right now, we don't think we'll have to prohibit that. We think it'll moderate itself based on how everybody's using it. Now, PennDOT regulates that, by the way. PennDOT might turn around. When we met with them on site, they-
Sorry. What did
I'm
you
sorry,
just ask?
I'm asking, are we, because if we
No,
want,
the very last thing you just asked.
the very last thing I asked was the traffic coming out on Darby Road. Are we
Right.
prohibiting what is coming out onto Darby Road?
Okay.
That's a good question, and let me, because it's an important point. What we want to do, what we have to do, is make it as attractive as possible to exit the site on Minoa. Because anybody exiting the site on Darby Road that wants to go left on Minoa or make the U-turn on the Darby, it's a very, very difficult movement. We don't want people doing that. We don't mind people coming out and making a right and making another right on Minoa or going south down towards Upper Darby, but we don't want people coming out. It's always left turns that make intersections most difficult. So we want to make the Minoa Road as attractive as possible.
Right, but if you're leaving the site and you go down the Minoa Road site and that's, a baseball game is coming out or something like that, people are gonna come out on the Darby Road.
They're only going to come out of Darby Road if they can.
Unless we, right, exactly. If we allow them to come out onto
Right.
Darby
And
Road.
if it's easier than coming out on Minoa, there are times, look, we've all traveled Darby Road, there's times when you just can't get over 2 lanes. You just can't do it. And that's the whole difficulty, I hope I'm not being too strong, but that's the whole difficulty of that intersection. You can't change that. You can't change the fact that you need to get people north on the Darby Road, and most of the people using this site, that's where they're gonna go, because that's where the heart of the town is. And you've got to get them west on Minoa Road. You can't change that. So you got to bring them out, and you got to bring them out on Minoa, because going across those 2 lanes on Darby is a challenge in the best of times. And then you're gonna have to extend that left turn lane, and you're going to have a certain amount of time you're in that left turn lane. You can't change all that, so you got to go into this with your eyes wide open.
Okay.
With that in mind, where would the main police egress be?
Right now, it's envisioned that the main police egress would be down onto Columbia.
Okay.
And frankly, there's 2 of them. There's one that would come off of here. We would think that would tend to be for the general public, and this would be the police.
Okay, so if
A
they're
little more
going
direct.
north on Darby Road, they would egress onto Minoa.
I don't know that. I don't want to pretend to know how the emergencies people are going to work. I mean, that would really be the police. This will not go away for the police. They will still be able to exit Darby Road, and that opening will still be there.
So if they wanted to go,
That's a problem, too,
Right.
if it's all backing up and.
You're still forcing all the Wawa traffic to transverse to make that U-turn loop, because they're not allowed to make a left on Manoa out of that thing.
Right.
Right?
No, they're doing it, you're forcing them to do that. You can't make a left on Manoa at Wawa.
That's the site we have. I mean, and again, Mayor, I'm not trying to trade a bleak picture, a cup half full, cup half empty, I'm trying to give you the facts. You're going to the challenges of that configuration at that intersection. It's getting people north and it's getting people west.
Okay.
I'll look at the delay coming southbound. It's a right turn, so right turns are the easiest movements, so it tends not to be the pinch point on an intersection. So, I mean, I'll look at it, and I'll get you that because we have it, but I just didn't bring it with me, because again, it's really the lefts that drive intersections.
Okay.
Dave, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. No, I'm done. Go ahead.
I apologize if you covered this earlier. Are there, the three entities we're talking about, the police department, the township, and the library, do they have any peak times for the kind of traffic they generate?
Yes.
When is that?
The library's peak hours tend to, based on IT, tend to be in the PM, and based on our counts that we did, tend to be in the PM. The township,
About 2 to 6, or?